What's up, everybody? You are tuned into The Output with DJ Unprotected. Welcome to my new studio. Actually, it's not. I just moved some things around, had to change it up for you audio files out there and my mixing engineers and anybody who works with music. It's all about speaker placement and all that jazz, and I'm a professional. I had to change some things up because honestly, the other way I had it, I think it sounded like it didn't sound as good as it could be. So all I did was move the couch around, shifted it from one side of the room to the other, moved my console, reconnected some cables. Honestly, it was like an hour and a half endeavor, but it wasn't that bad. Vacuumed some spots that probably haven't, the carpet hasn't seen light in a long time. It's not I keep things very clean in here. But anyway, change is good. I feel inspired. DJ Unprotected Place is awesome. That's the name of my studio. So now you guys know. But anyway, for those, if this is your first time checking us out, thank you. And if you're a return, you know the deal. So let me give you guys the rundown, all right? This is a podcast focused on pop culture, the entertainment industry, music, of course. Sometimes we have fun segments and guests, and I chop it up, and you guys get to hear my opinion, my dating stories, and whatever else is going on. Again, I'm here to bring the entertainment to you, and it all started because of the things that we're going through, because COVID's impacting everybody. But this is fun, and I've produced several other podcasts, and so why not run my own show? It's a good time. So if you do enjoy this show, I'm going to ask you, man, if you could just hit that like button. And if you find that this is your first time listening and you enjoy it, please hit the subscribe button. I drop episodes every Friday unless something comes up. But like I said, this is our 14th episode. We are going strong. And of course, who doesn't like a little bit of love in their life? So depending on where you're listening, this thing is everywhere. Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Man, if you can find a way to rate it, leave a comment. We'd really appreciate the love and support. And I thank you guys so much for giving this podcast a listen. All right. So we've got some fun stuff to talk about in this episode. So let me give you the little bottom line up front. We've got first dates and meetups, football, go Pack, go baby. You already know. And if you didn't, I'm a Packers fan. Dear Apple, take my money already. And I finished the away series, and wow, people may get lost in space, but love does not. And then, what the whap happened? The Cardi B drama show. I'm sure you guys are tracking all of that, and I'll talk a little bit about the Country Music Awards or the American Country Music or whatever it goes. I'm not a huge country fan, but cover some things about it because I am a music fan and I like Taylor Swift and she had a part of it. So running through this podcast, the first date story. This one's interesting, all right? So you guys have known, if you're following this podcast, heard in some other episodes, all right? I have been, dabbling, on like Tinder and Hinge, just to try to get some more social aspects in my life with, even during a pandemic, all right? And I'm not saying I'm going out, hanging out with people, but the virtual dates. And anyway, I'm not going to bring up old stuff. But something interesting happened yesterday, all right? So I was talking to someone on Tinder, and randomly she was like, hey, just come on over. I'm over at this restaurant or whatnot, this establishment. And it's not too far away from the house. And I know it's a big establishment and they also have outdoor seating. So I thought to myself, I could make it as safe as it can be, right? I mean, I'm going to work full time. So you're around people at work, you wear masks, you blah, blah, blah. You avoid meetings. You know what you got to do. Wash your hands, have hand sanitizer. So why can't I do that same process while going to meet somebody? You'd be cool, right? You sit across from each other in enough distance at the table, blah, 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 whatever. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go and link up because the place was close. It was like a 10-minute drive or something. And so, honestly, I didn't know, her pictures weren't clear on her profile. Absolutely not. She's not into that social media, I'm going to post my best pictures type of game. But I was like, why not give it a shot? So I went and I texted her when I got there, and it was like really awkward, because anytime you go to these restaurants, it's like you have to have reserved seating just when you walk into that joint. But I was like, look, I'm trying to meet somebody. Can I just go like cruise around to see if she's here? And so she had told me she was wearing a white shirt and jeans with racing stripes. So I was like, what the fuck, like racing stripes? I was thinking, you know what I mean? It looked like at a, it kind of looked like at a, like, I don't know, like the racing flag, checkered flag. Like I didn't know what I was looking for. So I Googled pants with racing stripe and I saw like some dress pants with the white stripe down the side. I was like, all right, cool. Like I can figure this out. But the staff at this restaurant all wore white tops and usually like black or dark jean bottoms. So I was like, I messaged her and I was like, yo, are you one of the staff members? Like, what am I doing here? And she was like, hey, I had to leave. I grabbed my food to go. I was here earlier, but I'll come back. So I guess she lived like right around the corner from the from the establishment. So anyway, I was waiting, so I got a seat, got a beer, was hanging out, and I was like, man, worst case scenario, like she doesn't show up. It's cool. Like I had a beer, chopped it up with the waiter, no big deal. So then I see someone walk into the restaurant and wearing white shirt and blue jeans with the stripes. So I was like, okay, that's her. She walks by and goes to the bathroom. And I was like, okay, that's like a little weird. And then she came back and honestly, I was like, didn't exactly, it was her in her pictures, but I think that, I don't know, like, I hope she doesn't hear this podcast, like, but my first impression was, okay, maybe she's actually older than the age she put in her profile. I tend to try to date women like right around the age of 30. I'm 34. It's usually like the fun window for me. Mid 30s, it just depends. Like later, I don't know. I haven't dated many women like around 35. So I don't know. My experience is mostly their age around 30. But so I thought she was older. Okay. And then things were off. Like when, she had told me, hey, like I came in and you probably saw me walk down the other direction towards the bathroom, but I thought I left my phone there. And so that's why I just wanted to check to see if you were on this side of the restaurant. So I was like, okay, like I get that. You were here earlier. But then she told me she left her phone, like it was dead, so she left it at her apartment. So I don't know, like it was really weird. I think that maybe she was just meeting up with me to like have that, okay, I can be outgoing, have like a date experience. Because I didn't really get to like learn much about her. It ended up being like just conversations of like, her enjoying her pool at her apartment. I don't know. I felt like it was very much an inch deep, mile wide type of conversation. So you didn't really get into like, what somebody was about. And I don't think she really wanted to talk about herself. I asked if like she had kids and she like blew by that subject. And she told me she was newly on her own. But anyway, it was just interesting, right? Because it was a pop-up meetup that was real spontaneous. There was like no plan. She had messaged me saying, hey, why don't you just like head over this way? And I did it. But so like I only got a beer. She was just drinking water. She doesn't really drink. And she ended up buying my beer. I thought that was really nice of her because she was like, hey, I invited you out. You bought the beer. So maybe she's like just looking for friends or, just that some type of distraction for what's going on in her life. But that was the second in-person meetup or date that I've had like in the past 7 months since like COVID hit and I broke up with my ex-girlfriend. So it's yeah, I mean, it's interesting, but you know what? Honestly, I was telling my friend about it and I told him what happened and he said, "Well, at least you got a chance to like get out of the house." And it's so true. Like even just this small social aspect of like being safe, like okay, I always had my mask on and obviously except for when drinking my beer, it was like gave the distance, polite to the hostess staff and whatnot, but it was still like it still felt good to like have that interaction. You know what I mean? Because other than work, it's like being here, and it's just interesting to see the effects of like how it treats everyone differently. Like I'm very much an extroverted person, even though I enjoy, my times of like recouping and like my me time, but it's just like it felt good to just have those interactions to talk to the waiter and the hostess, and like, it just was like cool. Like, even like the waiter, he like was telling me and her a quick story, and like pulled his mask down for a second, like he was away from us, but it was because she said that he looked like somebody. And he was like, "No, I've only been here a little while. I've heard a couple other things, but," and then like to see him pull his mask down and smile, you're like, dude, you don't normally see people smile in person because everybody's wearing masks. So it's just interesting. It was a cool experience, but wanted to tell you guys about it because we'll see how things go. Like maybe the next time I won't be so spontaneous. I know it's in my nature, but maybe to do like a little more prep work. But it wasn't that far away, and she paid for the beer, so no loss, and it was all good, right? So that was that date story. She was cool. I don't know if like I don't know if we'll still chat or maybe just be friends. I think she's probably just looking for friends anyway. But we shall see. But that was my exciting. That was on hump day too. And so don't worry, there was none of that action. Just came home after, called it a day. But so cruising through, we got football season is hot right now. Last week we wrapped up the first week of NFL, and it's interesting that they played the crowd sounds even though it's like an empty stadium. And I bet that sound engineer absolutely loves his job. I mean, just put it like normally, they're probably fighting over the sounds of the crowd for the microphones and having to do all of that, quick post-processing stuff to like get a good quality sound. And now they've got a great sound, but they still have to input some noise behind it. It's just interesting that they would do that. I know one of the games they actually had like I think 10,000 people in the stands, which was pretty cool. I think it was the Kansas City game. So, hey, I'm sure people feel good about going out there and whatever. But I know the other stadiums didn't really have many people. It was just the staff. But anyway, it feels good to see the Cowboys lose. Yes, I live in Texas, but I'm not a Cowboys fan. And I'm sorry to all the Cowboys fans out there. Love and respect you. I've got friends who are Cowboys fans. Was hanging out with one this weekend. But I'm a Packers fan, and that's just how it goes, okay? We have that, like, rival. We have to. Because if we both have good records, we end up playing each other, going into the playoffs. So, plus, the Cowboys got Mike McCarthy, and he said, right, leaving Green Bay, or, being fired, let's call it like it is, that he had to get bitter to get better. Think about that. Like, he had to get bitter to get better, whether it was as a coach, change his philosophies, whatever. Like, dude, for several seasons, you were hurting the Packers, like, with the bullshit play calls that you were making on the fourth downs and, either not taking the risks or not making the right call or you're not listening to the coordinators. Like, man, there were things that I liked about, Coach McCarthy when he was with the Packers. The conversations I think that he had with the players, but then it was I think he was headbutting with Rodgers about the play calling and the way that, kind of Rodgers wanted to go about I don't know, like the initiative on the field, right? But then you had, the coach making a play calling, and anyway, it was all, there were a couple of years there, it was like, why are you still here? You know what I'm saying? Like, you knew it was going to happen. So to say you had to get bitter to get better, bullshit statement. And, most recently made a typical Mike McCarthy shitty call during the Dallas' first game. The good old fourth down call. Sometimes you just got to let things go and move on. Don't be upset at the Packers because they made that good decision to get rid of you. I know his family is still back in Wisconsin, so I get that, like, being away from your family can suck. But whatever, dude, like, he makes enough money. There's no reason, like, they can't travel. Okay, so I know he's making a lot. I think what the contract that Jason Garrett had was like 30 million over 5 years or something. And I think that Coach McCarthy got something similar. I was trying to look up the stats, but they were just saying like he got at least that. So hard to complain. If you're going to make 5 million a year and still suck and be a shitty coach and lose, like, then whatever. I mean, hey, then you can complain and be upset all you want. You can get as bitter as you want to, man. Just, try to do your best for the team and just let the past go. Move the fuck on. Pretty good philosophy in life if you start to implement that. All right. But let's see. But, back to the Cowboys, all right? And some insight on that losing, whatever. Okay, I do believe. So if you guys watched the game, there was that offensive pass interference call on Gallup, and it was borderline BS. And I will say that because there was some heavy acting by the defensive player. But if your team loses because of one play, then they needed to play better. Like, yes, some calls go your way in sports and some don't. I experienced it in baseball. You know what I mean? Like a dude's trying to steal second, or there's a double play and maybe the guy hit the bag, maybe he didn't. You know what I'm saying? Or, the strike zone is whacked by the umpire. Like you get a bad call. Like it can happen. But that's why you play the best you can and try to whoop the team's ass. So that way you're not depending on one call to make or break the game, and it's true. So like, that's just how it happens. Like if you lose because of one call, then were you really that great? And, did it really mean the game? And so let's be real about this. And like, trust me, like I get upset when my teams, okay, the Packers specifically, if a call goes against them. I'm absolutely upset. I've thrown plenty of remotes in my day. I've turned off the TV. I've cussed out virtual refs. You know what I'm saying? I've done it all. And I'm sure you have too. Like, think about it. That's why football season's so exciting, because you're sitting there, whether you're with a group of people at the bar, at the house, call doesn't go the way, you start yelling. Or when it does go your way, you start yelling. You're happy, right? It happens, man. It all hits all of us. But I think that one of the coaches that said it best in a press conference, I think it was Pete Carroll, coach of the Seahawks, who said in a post interview about a bad call, he said that he didn't agree with the call, but if we would have played better overall, we would have won anyway, with or without the call. So in essence, the other team just played better than us anyway. Like if we were just worried about one call, then could we have played better? And the answer is yes. So like, Pete Carroll, like positive guy. I love, I have this weird fascination. Okay. I like watching the post game interviews about the winning and losing coaches, but mostly the losing coaches and the losing quarterbacks, because I think it says a lot about their character of how they approach it. Are they, I think my phone's going to die, but hold on one second. I got to plug it in. It's how I track the video, because I don't quite have a film crew yet. We're working on it though. Already fired the sound engineer from last week because he didn't want to go training. Okay. So I watched those losing press conferences, like the recaps of what the coaches had to say. Definitely the QBs, because like I said, it goes to the character. Are they pointing fingers? Are they blaming? Who are they blaming for the loss? Are they saying that they could have played better overall? Or are they trying to blame it on one player, or who's taking ownership? And so it shows like people who are really humbled. Yeah, losing sucks. Losing is probably one of the worst things in life, because we want to win. And then in sports, when you're getting paid and, contracts, awards, all that stuff matter on how well you perform and play on that field. And then you've got the fans and weight on your shoulders. I can only imagine what that's like. So when you sit there and hear what they have to say, and it's like, when they're real negative or when they're down or they don't have things to say, you're like, then you kind of lose respect for them, because it's like, look, dude, like, especially a quarterback, you are the leader of that team. And so that's why, like, there were some quarterbacks before, and I'll mention it, Colin Kaepernick, when he was QB for the 49ers, I never respected that dude when he talked at press conferences, not because of his ideas or whatever he was doing on the football field, taking a knee, but it was because his reactions, like he was negative, didn't show any energy at the podium. It was either he was either confident or he was upset. Like there was no in between. So the character level wasn't there. But then you watch players like Aaron Rodgers is generally pretty good. Even when they lose, he still respectfully answers the questions and like it stings when they're standing there, but he's still a professional. Russell Wilson, same thing. Like these are guys who are professional stand-up characters and whatever. So I like to watch it because, losing happens. Like you got to lose to succeed or fail to succeed because that's how you get better, And I think that can work for like any type of industry, job. Like, failure shouldn't be something that you're afraid of, but you have to know how to approach it when it happens. And so I think that's why I enjoy, or not enjoy, but I learn from that because here are people who are leading and you can see how they respond. And then I'm like, okay, I could probably be better about how I approach when like losing maybe awards at work or like music opportunities, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but that's one of my things. So yeah, Pete Carroll, definitely one of my favorite coaches. Mad respect to that dude. And then, just hey, you should keep an eye out. Like if you have your favorite team, how are your QBs and coaches reacting or whatever sport you're into? You know what I mean? Like, are they only good when they win or are they, kind of leveled out, down to earth people even when they lose? So something worth considering. I don't know. But anyway, again, for the people in the back, go Pack, go. I've still got that. I'm rocking the Packers koozie over a Vizzy drink, and I think these Vizzy drinks are pretty good. So feel free to give it a shot. Anyway, so next up, Apple can just go ahead and take my money. So for all of you tracking this tax plan that is brilliant or not, okay. So I'm sure most of you are, but if you aren't, if you don't meet a certain threshold of the tax, I think it's like 88,000 a year or something, like then I know if you work for the DOD or, whatever, like you don't have an option to turn it down. I don't make more than that. So what happens is they're going to, by they, like payroll or whatever, the government is not going to take out the FICA Social Security tax over the next 3 months, October through December. And then I don't know if it was this month, September, but I think it starts next month. And then you have to pay it back from January through April. So you get to keep that tax now because they want people to have the money so they can spend it over the holidays. And then you just get shortened paychecks later because they end up taking double out to make up for what they gave you. Or, yeah. So anyway, just in case you guys are tracking, I have a lot of Apple products. I got the MacBook Pro. I've got an old piece of shit iPad from 2012. And then I've got, I'm an iPhone user, so I like it. I'm integrated into the Apple system, all right? My main system for recording this audio and editing video is, Logic. And then I use maybe iMovie sometimes, and I got this other software. But this past week, Apple dropped a new lineup of some things. So it's been an interesting year for Apple because of the pandemic and everything. And like they're always about their huge events, WDC, and then you have this always event this time of the year where they discuss like new iPhones, new iPads, etc. So it's been an interesting year because they dropped the iPad Pro in the beginning of the year, which was pretty cool, like the way this thing looked. And they got the the floating keyboard, which is pretty badass for that one. And so that, the iPad Pro is essentially like a laptop. So it's pretty cool. And then obviously, they dropped the MacBook Pro 13-inch early spring, I think it was. And then a little bit later, let's see, they dropped the new iMac 5K resolution like a month or two ago, which was a big deal. But now they made some announcements this week. No iPhone yet, but they announced a new Apple Watch and an iPad. So I'm going to talk about the iPad because I need to get one because, I have a 2012 iPad and it can't even update. I can't even access some of the apps anymore. And if I'm being 100% honest with you, I can't even watch the hub with it. So it's practically useless. Like I use it to like type up, what I'm saying, like transcripts for my YouTube videos that I do, or, maybe write down ideas, but I can't really use it for anything else. I mean, I can't even watch YouTube. So I can't watch the hub. I can't watch YouTube. I have to, go to the web address, can't use the YouTube app. So it's just crazy. So I need a new iPad for sure. All right. So here's what they've got. I don't need I was thinking about getting an iPad Pro, but I don't need a Pro because I do 99% of my productions on my MacBook Pro, and anything else would be like, I don't know, like maybe it's 100% in the MacBook Pro, but I don't really need another system that's that powerful. But I do need something to supplement other areas for like samplers or taking down notes or whatever. So let me run through some specs of this iPad, all right? So the starting price is $599, which I think is affordable. Like, yeah, Apple products they are a luxury company. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to pay top dollar for a device versus other companies may not charge that much. I mean, they did sell $700 steel wheels. I think they were steel. It doesn't matter. $700 wheels for their Mac Pro Tower cheese grater system. $700 for wheels. Yes, this is very much a luxury company. They sold $1,000 monitor screen, like they had their huge, ultra HD, Apple display, but then it had a specific display holder. I forget what it's called, but everybody was like, holy shit, like that for $999. So it's nuts. So yeah, it's very much a luxury company, right? There's no reason to sugarcoat it, just how it is. But again, back to this iPad Air. So first thing, this thing is awesome, man. It's got different colored options, and you got obviously the silver, space gray, rose gold, but you also get green or sky blue. Now I could go with the space gray to match my MacBook Pro, but I kind of like the sky blue. Like, that seems pretty cool to me. So probably going to be my choice if I'm going to be 100% honest with you. You get the couple options for a 64 gigabyte or 256 gigabyte capacity. I think that now you can use thumb drives for data transfer. So I'll probably go with the 64 gigabyte anyway. I use, Google Drive and, different cloud services to save my shit anyway. So I'm not really tripping about 256. I'm not going to be saving video. Probably won't be taking many pictures with it. So yeah, it's pretty much going to be a note taken, but it's also 1 pound. And I'm a fan of lightweight and portable. The audio did not cut out. I was getting a drink. So yeah, lightweight and portable, 10.9-inch screen, which will be great for watching YouTube and the hub. And the awesome thing is that the Touch ID is integrated into the power button at the top of the device. So there's no more home button. They have shifted away from that, and you're not even touching fingerprint in the screen because your Touch ID is up there on the power button. So what? That's what's up, Apple. Coming through with something innovative that makes sense to us and not just something to put on a product. Man, I love it. And the best of all, in my humble opinion, all right, is the USB-C, because it lets the device play well and nicely with others. Man, like if you ever like went somewhere or were at a house or a party or whatnot, and somebody didn't have an iPhone, you're trying to find a charger or something, and you're like, why can't my shit just be USB-C? I think we're getting there. We'll see. But when it comes to iPad, the iPad Air, bye-bye old Lightning port. So the iPad Air and the iPad Pro both have the Lightning port or the USB-C port. My bad. But yeah, like, so I know I could have gotten the iPad Pro a couple months ago, but I didn't because I don't necessarily need an iPad Pro. I don't need that many cool cameras. I won't say never, but man, I'm not going to be that weird person who's holding a camera or holding a big iPad up to take pictures. Like, unless I'm doing something here in the studio or supplementing the camera, I need an extra way to get some HD footage when I'm doing like my DJ product reviews or whatnot. I don't know, but like seriously, man, anytime I've seen people taking pictures with their iPads in public, like kind of makes me laugh. I'm not making fun of them, it just makes me laugh. Like, there's smaller cameras out there, but you do you, boo-boo. All right, and, yeah, I just don't need that much power in iPad Pro. I do a lot of my video editing on the laptop because it's convenient. But anyway, the iPad Air, awesome update. Definitely going to upgrade. It's not available yet. I tried to pre-order. I even called customer service. So you can check out the specs and the pricing online, but you can't hit the order button. So I guess I kind of respect that about Apple, because I know like a lot of music companies like Den and DJ and like Pioneer, they release all their products like in advance, but you have to pre-order, and you had to essentially end up paying upfront for a device that you're not going to get for like a month or so. So the iPad Air is not going to be out until probably in October. They said that's when it'll be. I couldn't order it. I tried to pre-order it. They wouldn't let me. Like I said, customer service said, sorry, we can't take your money right now. And I waited on the phone for like 2.5 hours too. I was like, I'm going to pre-order this joint. Why not? I knew what I want, man. When you know what you want, you go for it. And I know I want this thing, so I was going to swing hard for it. But they wouldn't let me, okay? So I really am excited about getting this new design. I'm also excited about the Apple Pencil 2, second version, not the first one where you have to plug it in the bottom. I can't do that. I don't know how people didn't snap that thing off. You know what I'm saying? Like you would plug that first pencil. So for iPad, you can get it and you plug it into the bottom port and like that thing would snap. Like that's how you charge it. No, so at least this one has the magnetic capability, which makes more sense. Speaking of sense, okay, so I remember watching this video of Steve Jobs because I like to watch videos, of people who were like visionaries, people who thought outside of the box, like business-minded people who made decisions for the customer. And what I appreciated, what he said in one of his, I don't know, it was kind of like a town hall or something, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, he was up on stage and somebody asked him a question. And, he responded like, look, when I'm in the room with the engineers or, we're coming up with product development, we don't sit there and say, okay, what can we create next? He said that's not how we start our development process. But the first question is, what do our customers need? And he said then we would develop from there. We would talk about what our customers could use, what they could need, what could benefit and impact their lives. Like what do they need to change every day from a technology perspective? And I love that outlook because then you start thinking of how you're going to provide a product that somebody needs. Nobody needs a pencil that you stick into the bottom of the thing that you can snap when you try to go put it in your bag. I don't get that, man. Sometimes I wonder, like, what were they thinking about when they did that? It just makes no sense. Unless they were just like, hey, we're going to create this little stylus and then you got to plug it in the bottom and maybe they'll snap it and buy more. I don't know. But the Apple Pencil 2, magnetic, and they've made the option on the iPad Air so you can just snap it onto the top. You're not plugging the thing in and ripping things off. So love that. Absolutely love that. So I'm excited about the magnetic pencil because I'm creative, right? Like I like to doodle, I type like my notes or ideas for the podcast on the screen. But when I'm like sitting outside or, hanging out, when I used to hang out in coffee shops or whatever it is, like I like to just doodle, write things down. And the cool thing, like with the iPad Air and a pencil, like you can sit there and like scribble things down and like come up with ideas. You know what I mean? I think like when you start putting your mind and hand to motion and see things, it creates like more of that opportunity to like think outside the box, like come up with different ideas. You can sit here and type and it's just not the same. So sometimes you have to like, okay, I know you're not removing technology sitting there in front of this tablet, but it's just a little different because at least you're getting different hand motion and just typing with your fingers. So that's where I'm at with that. I do like to doodle. There are also some music production tools. You've got the DJ thing. So they came up with this new, I think it's like iDJ or the DJ software that they have on iPad. But the cool thing is because of the front-facing cameras has I think the AR technology, right? You can sit there and mix without touching the iPad. So you can just scratch in the air. You can adjust the volume faders. And if you're watching a video on YouTube, I'm doing the hand motions because I talk with my hands. But that is badass. Like, you know what I mean? Like I have more than enough equipment to just turn on and start DJing. But the fact that this capability will be on an iPad, dude, I'm totally in. So that would be cool to do in the sense of like, rotating the hands and whatnot. Um, Man, talked a lot about this topic, but anyway, I think that's pretty cool. And there's some other production suites that I could use. So I'm pumped to get it. Comes out in October. They already dropped some, they got the Apple Watch and SE that dropped as a more affordable option. I already got the Apple Watch, the third one. It works good. The only thing I'm pissed off about is like I can't update to the new software because there's not enough room on this thing, even though I deleted all my apps. So I don't know how that happened, but I guess I'm just going to hang out to the old software. But it works for me. And honestly, I don't wear it all the time because I can't wear it at my real job. But so I'll just be getting the iPad. And then eventually when they drop the new iPhone, I think they'll probably announce that next month or November. And it'll probably be here before the end of the year. So we shall see. That's the Apple news, baby. Who else likes Apple products, man? I know I've met some like cool people on Twitter who, when a couple years ago we were buying the Apple product and we were we were having issues. That was the time when like AT&T and the Apple Store went down. I think it was when they first released the iPhone 6 or the 7. And so I was talking to people on Twitter when we couldn't place our orders because the site went down. So we had ordered and then like didn't hear about it until like 4 hours later of the confirmation. And so I met somebody on there who like he ended up ordering it 3 times. So anyway, if you're an Apple fan, hit me up on Twitter at DJ Unprotected. Let's chat and see what you're looking forward to. We'll shift over to entertainment news. So obviously you guys have probably heard, but what the WAP is going on, okay? Cardi B filed for divorce from Offset because of a lot of drama following years of cheating in their relationship. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are tracking. You've seen this is like the headlines of anything that you log into, your email, whatever. Like you've seen it because she runs the game. I hope they both find happiness. Like I really don't care about celebrity drama and what they decide to do with their relationships or whatnot. But, it's Cardi B. I can't say I love all of her music, but you know what? Her music does fill the dance floor. So I played in my sets. And honestly, she's a great entertainer. Like she knows the game. She's got energy. And I think she's herself on camera and off camera and on the music. So you got to have a little respect for that. She's a wild one for sure, but you know what? She's a key player in this industry, and I like that. Like, it keeps the industry moving, you know what I mean? So call it whatever you want, whether someone has artistry or not, whether they're talented, whether you like their music or not. There's a different type of game to, like, pop and, like, music artists and rap artists, okay? She's a rapper. Rappers don't have most of them don't have a big, long-time career. Singers don't have a big, long-time career. It's rare. They have a short window of success. So I think she's playing the game right. If you don't believe me about that short window of success, fight me. Definitely enough data out there to tell you, that they can't sell the millions of albums that they did all the time. There's very few who could do it. Madonna, one of them, you know what I mean? But anyway, so back to this topic. It's funny. So because of that WAP video, WAP, right? There was apparently this WAP challenge. Okay, I found this out from that girl that I met on this date. She was doing WAP challenge. But anyway, I tried to go buy a bunch of snakes earlier this week because Halloween's coming up and I want to do like something cool with like glow sticks and the snakes, just to try to shift it up, figure out something in the yard. Well, all the snakes were sold out. And so I sat there, I was like, why are these all sold out? It's crazy. And it turns out, like, people were buying up the snakes to create these videos for the WAP challenge. So, WAP, whatever it is, WAP challenge. And so anyway, that's kind of funny to me. And so when I was told about that, I was like, okay, that explains it. So I don't have any snakes because everyone's buying them for these videos, which are pretty entertaining. People try to recreate that video in their own way, and obviously have some trolls in the process, but it's funny, and now I can't buy snakes. But anyway, back to their drama. So the relationship in Cardi B's and Offset's, like the the drama in it, okay, it started because there was cheating in the beginning of their relationship, Offset was like sleeping around. They tried to get back together, Cardi B tried to forgive him, but it didn't work out. So let me ask you this. If your partner or your spouse cheated on you, would you forgive them completely? Like with your heart, forgive them, act like it didn't happen. Can you do that? I don't know. So let me know. I would love to hear feedback on that. Um, and then continuing with entertainment news, I talked about the ACM Awards. I'm not a huge country fan, but I do like Taylor Swift, and I'm proud of her. Like, she performed again. I know she started out making country music. I think her story is pretty cool of how, when she first became an artist and all that jazz, like moving to Nashville. So it's awesome. But I read that she did her own hair and makeup for her performance and for the show. So I think that's legit. Like I said before, I'm a fan of Taylor Swift, whether she's making country, folk, or pop. It's in my playlist, right? It'll find its way. So that's it. I can't say that I watched all of the footage from that. I do like music, but I'm just not a huge country music fan. It's just not my flavor. Now, I will go out and two-step and have fun because I think the environment of that is cool. Like, it's a fun environment out at those country clubs. Can't right now, but, then you enjoy some stuff. Like, what's the one called? Blue Moon? Is it Blue Moon? Man, what is that one? Anyway, forgive me. See, like I said, that I don't I don't follow country, but anyway, a song like that. Man, what is that called? Give me 1 second. I'm trying to figure this out. What's the song? It's by Brooks and Dunn. I'm trying to remind myself here. Neon Moon. That's it, not Blue Moon. Man, I'm silly. Okay. Neon Moon. I like that one. Okay, that's a good song. Anyway, that's that. Now let's cruise into movies and TV. So last week I talked a lot about space, my fascination with sci-fi movies and space travel and all that jazz. I finished that Away series with Hilary Swank, and it was absolutely awesome. Now, I thought the last few episodes had a few too many extended theatrical moments. And you know what I'm talking about. It's where there's heavy music orchestration, there's no dialogue, and the characters are just like looking at each other, or they're crying, or they're being happy, and it's usually like a slow motion scene or something. It's a little dramatic, but there was a lot of that in the last few episodes. I don't know if they were trying to extend the time because maybe they didn't record enough and then they're editing during COVID. I'm not sure what happened, but it was clearly obvious that like there was more than one extended scene. You're like, okay, let's get along with it. Like, I want to know what happens next. And they're just like, you'll start to drag on to an annoying extent. But like I said, the series is awesome. The acting is just great in the show, and I think they play it well. Now, the ending is awesome. Okay, they finally do make it to Mars, and spoiler alert, there may be love in space. Not all is lost in space, and love may be found. So, the commander. So again, spoiler alert. I'm not going to give away too much, but I will say the commander of the ship may be realizing some deep down emotions towards the second in command. We shall only see. I'm not very good at reading people, but sometimes they show it in, TV shows, and I think they got some interconnections there happening. I mean, you're months away from your family, and hey, emotions can fly. But I guess we're going to have to wait until 2021 to find out. So, I don't know. I've always heard don't shit where you sleep, but you definitely don't want to love in space. Like, that could be a disaster and awkward. Can you imagine, like, falling in love or liking somebody in space? Maybe you end up having some, like, zero gravity space sex, and but then things get awkward after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever think about that? And like, then you're on this ship, and it's like you and maybe 3 or 4 other crew members, and it's just you guys, and like you have to figure it out. But maybe like all of a sudden you start to despise that person, or they despise you, or maybe you end up really, really loving them, and they're like, this probably isn't a good idea. like the awkwardness. And then you have the chain of command, like someone's always in charge or whatever of that ship, and say that, you were a subordinate, man, shit can get really weird. Or you're in charge, like it gets super weird, man. Emotions should not be there when people are in charge or taking control of things. So I don't know. That's my take on that. It's like you don't ever fall in love in a workplace, man. Bad idea. Phew. I get that. Like maybe you want to be around somebody a lot when you like them, but you don't want to work with them. That's what you're doing in space. But then also you're millions of miles away. You're could be lonely, maybe not getting along with some of the other crew members, and you connect with somebody. I don't know. It's just crazy. It would happen. It's like human nature, right? Like human nature happens. It affects everybody. People get attracted, even if you have it can happen. Like you have a spouse or people like you were gone for years, not just several months, but like years. Okay. Like 6 months travel or 9 months. I think it's 6, 7 months to get to Mars. And then you're there for like 2 or 3 years and then come back. Man, life's changed. Like that's worse than any other type of, temporary moment away from your life because of work. That would be completely different. I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Like, I think that would be awkward. Like, you wouldn't do that. Do you separate from your spouse or whatever? Do you end your relationship or do you hold on to them when you go on that big of a trip? People got to start thinking of these things because, like I've mentioned before, these assholes want to try to focus on getting to Mars, not in a TV show way, but in like a reality type of way, which is wild. Let's just fix here, man. Earth is the most beautiful thing in our solar system. But I'm going to stop there because you guys know how I can get talking about that. I love where we live. I love our planet. I hope we can work to improve, to make this place better. I'm going to end this on a positive quote that I think can benefit anybody, especially in hard times at work, your business, whatever's going on, or in your family life. It doesn't matter, okay? So it's by John C. Maxwell, and it is, if you tend to the people, or I think it just is, tend to the people, and the people will tend to work. So tend to the people, and people will tend to the work. So it is, whatever that means or resonates with you. But when you take care of people, the job will get done. But you have to put people first. You got to take care of them, look out for people, and especially now, reach out to anybody, a friend, a coworker, somebody, just to see how they're doing. A lot of people can be impacted by this pandemic in different ways. A lot of people can't find escapes because you can't take the vacation you want to. You're either always at work or you're not at work, or maybe you're just feel landlocked in your business at home. No matter what it may be, I don't know, reach out to somebody, see if they're okay, take care of each other, take care of everyone. That's how I feel, man. A lot of love going on here in DJ Unprotected Place. Move the furniture. We're positive. I'm super excited. Okay, love the weekend. Pizza Friday. I love getting pizza on Fridays. And it's Friday, baby. All right, everybody. So that's our time. Thank you again for tuning in to The Output with me, DJ Unprotected. This podcast is presented by Aztec Nation. I invite you to check out the company's other podcasts, Killin' Time, that's TYME, which is a podcast about everything and nothing at the same time, and it releases on Mondays, all right? So again, hey, if this is your first time checking out this series, I thank you and welcome you and appreciate you tuning in. So please hit that subscribe button so you can catch us every Friday releasing new material. And if you have been subscribing, thank you for being here, and I appreciate your support. Hit that like button, rate me some stars if you got the time. I appreciate it. Thank you for showing me some love. I will forever show you guys some love. All right, so I hope you're picking up what we're putting out. We got a lot to say. Tune in next week. We out.